This is Andreas, and you're listening to Breakdowns for Breakfast. Oh, yeah.
Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdowns for Breakfast. I'm your host, Danger, and joining me is a fellow that I cannot properly break down now without your co-host, Monster. Say hi, Monster.
Hi, good morning. How are you today?
I'm okay. A little phlegmy.
Well, it is the season.
Yes.
I feel like we keep getting better and then just end up feeling worse. And, honestly, that's a good descriptor for just about every band member in this band today. They were all doing fine, and then they started doing bad, and then they start doing better, and
That's fair.
This you could just call this canceled the band at this point.
Well, I don't think all of them have been canceled, but, tell me if I'm wrong as we go through it. So we are here in our final episode of Supergroup December. I think we originally wanted to call it Supergroup Month, but we knew it wasn't going to line up for a month after the first episode. So, yeah, Supergroup December. We're here to talk about Isles and Glaciers, their album, The Hearts of Lonely People, that was released March 9th, 2010. Now, do you know how this album was released?
I'm assuming just out of the trunk of somebody's car, because why would any record label want this?
No, well, Equal Vision Records put it out.
Oh, well,
so they
these
recorded
bands
it,
are on
but
that.
yeah, it was not available in Best Buys and other record stores that were still around in 2010. It was sold exclusively at Hot Topic. And through some online retailers, but I couldn't find exactly what those retailers were. But you can find the album now with no problem. But yeah, it was sold at Hot Topic, which I think this may be the only album that was sold at Hot Topic exclusively.
You're probably right, but that certainly checks out. And it's funny you said 2010 because this sounds like 2002, but
right,
which would have also made sense to only be at Hot Topic.
Right, and that's one of the things that I do say later in the episode, in that closing statement thing.
Oh man, jumping straight to it.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go ahead and say I don't hate everything here, but I do have to say that I was rather disappointed because this is like the NBA All-Star of emo screamo bands. And I was really expecting a lot better, but I didn't hate this by any means.
I think I kind of do. I tell you what, my final score is in flux, and this conversation will sway me one way or the other. Because truth be told, the first time I listened to it, I didn't hate it, and every time I listened to it again, I liked it less. And by the last time I listened to it today, I was like, it was putting me in a bad mood. So I'm again, because of the way we do this show, it's hard to say for sure exactly how we feel about something. This is very short. I've listened to it probably 5 or 6 times, and every time I liked it less.
Okay, so when we came up with the concept of doing a supergroup theme month, because I feel like we've done less theme months recently than we did in the beginning of this show, but whatever. So we kind of threw around some different supergroups we wanted to do, and then we came up with each member has to be a part of at least, 2 projects or something? Like there had to be at least 3 projects come into the band.
Right.
Yeah. When we did that, I forgot, I think I had Them Crooked Vultures on before Isles and Glaciers, and I think it was after we kind of settled on the bands, I'd completely forgotten about Isles and Glaciers, and they were not one I ever checked out, but always kind of wanted to and just never really did. But then I got done recording and settling, those things, and went upstairs. I was talking to the lady, and I was like, yeah, we're doing Supergroup Month. And she was like, oh, are you going to do Isles and Glaciers? Like, oh, we should do Isles and Glaciers. And then another part of our conversations came into mind where we had really kind of tossed around the idea of doing EPs and things. Mm-hmm. And when I said we should do Isles and Glaciers and kind of put that one on the list, yes, I know that my other pick for Supergroup December was LS Dunes, which is another emo supergroup.
Yeah, you got a theme going.
I didn't mean to emo it out, and I did. But yeah, I didn't realize that Isles and Glaciers had only put out one album. I thought they had put out at least two. And I didn't realize that this was technically an EP. But it's like, it was called an album in some places and an EP in others. And, only being 7 tracks, it should have, registered a bit more than it did. And I'm not proud to say that I didn't pick up on that one. But it, I have feelings about why it's 7 tracks as opposed to less.
Okay, so I have something I have written in my closing statement is...
Oh, jumping straight for it.
I'm a little bit torn because to me, this album is only 7 songs and it has 2 flavors of songs. Either full blast, nonstop, everybody doing everything all at once, or...
Which is where it sounds crowded.
Right. Or it's super slow, super sparse, barely sounds like a band, sounds like just like an R&B song or something. And so I'm of 2 minds. Either pick a lane and do 4 or 5 songs, or make a full album where you can, pace it out and you have a little bit more cohesion. But I don't want to hear any more of this. Like this is good. Like I don't want any more of this. This is more than I needed to begin with. So the idea of sitting through this for another 26 minutes or another 4 or 5 songs does not interest me at all.
So we've talked in the past about bands have a sound for a first album and then, the albums that come after that. And so you've got really 3 of like the heaviest hitters in the post-hardcore emo scene on this album. And I'll get to the names here in just a minute. So, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this has got to be a good thing. But then in sitting down with this and realizing it's only 7 songs and 2 of them are what they are, it was okay. So, and then after listening to this more, it was okay. So, maybe this was just the start of this project and it was meant to be more. But then, I really feel like, Johnny Craig being a part of it kind of ruined it becoming more down the road a bit. And it was right after this that he pulled his MacBook scam.
It's hard to schedule band practice around court appearances. It's a difficult thing to manage. And to
your drug dealer does not care if you have to go to band practice.
So when we talked about all the other 3 supergroups that we did, Perfect Circle, LS Dunes, and Love and Death, whether we were huge fans of it or not, I think we could agree that it felt like everybody was on the same page. They were all working towards a goal that they all had clear in their head. This to me sounds like a bunch of dudes that all kind of want to do their own thing which another thing is you told me about 2 of the singers. You didn't tell me about the third. And
when I told you about the 2, I didn't realize the third was as involved as he is.
And with that being
I knew
said,
he was there, but I didn't realize he was as big of a part as he is.
I hate his voice. Like, I cannot stand Vic Fuentes and Pierce the Veil. Like, I've never been able to get into them, like, at all. Like, a song or 2, maybe, but his voice is like nails on a chalkboard. And here's the thing.
See, I disagree on that one.
Okay, that's fine, but it's terrible. These 3 dudes all have very distinct, unique voices. And at no point on this album do they sing like they're trying to sing together. They will sing all over the place. They will sing on top of each other, but they never, ever, ever once try to sing together. And it's like, what's the point of having 3 very well-known, very distinct vocalists if you're just gonna just not even work together? Like, it sounds, I really don't understand that.
All right, so since we've thrown out a couple names, let's go ahead and just jump into who these people are in this band. So, Craig Owens is one of the vocalists, and he's from Chiodo's Cinematic Sunrise, The Sounds of Animals Fighting, and Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows, which we've done a Chiodos and Drugs album on the show. And I'm really kind of ashamed to say that I didn't realize how much of a supergroup Drugs was. And we didn't do the album that was a supergroup. It was more of the Craig Owens show. But
Yeah,
then you got Johnny.
because I was going to say, I read somewhere part of the, canceled the band, that my joke I made earlier was that apparently Craig Owens is a really difficult person to work with, and eventually got kicked out of Chiodos, and then while in drugs fired the entire band and hired a bunch of new guys at one point because, apparently he's very egotistical and a pain in the ass to work with.
Yeah, even if you go look up, and I say this because I looked it up just before we did this, sat down to record. Craig Owens, Chiodos is still going, but Craig Owens is the only remaining member. He just has touring musicians that go with it. So
now
I feel like at this point, Craig Owens holds on to Chiodos and drugs and just does those things. I don't really know the status of Cinematic Sunrise or the Sounds of Animals Fighting, but
yeah.
So, all right, then we have Johnny Craig on vocals, and he was in Dance Gavin Dance, Emerosa, and Slaves.
Now, to give Johnny Craig a little bit of slack, because we have picked on him on a couple of different episodes, doing a little bit of research, best that I can tell, most of his troubles are like drug and petty theft and that kind of stuff. He doesn't have some of the quote unquote allegations that some of these other guys have, at least
right
to my knowledge, because anytime you try to search it, it usually brings up Tillian and all that. But Johnny Craig is not a great dude from what I can tell, but it seems to be more of a drug problem than anything that he's like done to other people, other than the weird MacBook thing, which is very strange.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I am more okay with somebody being an issue if they are harming themselves over somebody being an issue because they're harming other people.
I know exactly what you're trying to say, but that's like an awful way to put it. But no, you're right. You're right. They're a problem to themselves, not to others.
Right, right. Yes. Harming, problem, not harming. Yes.
However, by doing those things, you kind of ruin the things around you a lot of times.
Create a wake of destruction and people get caught in it. So,
so.
All right, and then we have Vic Fuentes. He is also the other. He's the other vocalist. I don't know why I have trouble with words at the beginning of a lot of the episodes that we do. But anyway, Vic Fuentes on vocals and guitar, and he is from Pierce the Veil. Nick Martin also on vocals, like backup vocals, but lead guitar, and he was in Sleeping with Sirens. Brian Southall. Guitars, programming, keyboards, and synthesizers, which we hear a lot of on this.
Yeah, we do.
And he was in Boys Night Out, the receiving end of Sirens, and he was a former tour manager for All Time Low, and he is currently the production manager for Pharrell Williams, which I thought was interesting.
A lot of sirens going on in there, too.
Yep. So then Matt Goddard was the original bassist for Chiodos, and I thought that was a strange thing that he was the original one, and Craig Owens still keeps Chiodos going in name only, and he was doing it during this, I believe. I don't know. I was having a hard time keeping up with timelines of things. But then Mike Fuentes, who I believe is Vic's brother, I don't know for sure. He's on drums, but he was also in Pierce the Veil.
And Mike has also faced his fair share of allegations, and
he has. I didn't go deep into it, so
because I recognized the Fuentes part, and I was like, do we have 3 singers that are all kind of in hot water? And it was like, no, Vic should be fine. It's Mike you got to watch out for. I was like,
right.
Okay. But, good thing he's still in the band, though. That's great.
Yes. Well, he's in the band that doesn't exist anymore because this was Craig Owens came out and said that this was a one-time project. And from doing research on it, it doesn't seem like it was a project that kind of developed organically. I know that Johnny Craig guest with Craig Owens. I believe it was during a Chiodo show, and then that kind of created the idea of doing this. But then they kind of just put together, I guess, a group of their friends, and then Vic Fuentes was really the driving force behind writing the music. But then, like I said, shortly after this was released was when Johnny Craig did his MacBook scam, and then that's when Johnny Craig had said it was it was going to be a continuing project. They were going to put out some more stuff, but then after the MacBook scam, Craig Owens said it was a one-time thing. So
I think I even saw somewhere where Owens made a post or a tweet or something right after it and was like, geez, I wonder why this is a one-time thing.
yeah, right. So the producer on this is a gentleman by the name of Casey Bates. I assume it's a gentleman named Casey because there's another Casey in Your Life Monster that is also a gentleman. Anyway, but Casey Bates had worked with Portugal the Man, Lakeview Drive, 303, Follow Troy, He Is We. He's just kind of a go-to guy for a lot of these bands, but he had also worked with Chiodos and Gatsby's American Dream. Basically, bands that all of these people, and Pierce the Veil, basically bands that all these people had been involved with at some point. So I feel like it was a buddy production sort of thing.
And the production is weird. Like, it's not bad, but
right.
There's so
it's different.
Yeah, it's hard to put my finger on it. As a matter of fact, I've listened to this a couple different ways. I've listened to it with my, nice over-the-ear headphones. I've listened to it with like earbuds. And then one day I was just kind of working and wasn't really thinking about it. And I just hit play on my laptop. And it actually sounds pretty good coming out of like wimpy dinky computer speakers because it almost makes more sense because the performances sound like a young, eager band's demo, and having the real thick, like well-maintained production sort of hurts that. So when I heard it a little bit more like quietly and distorted, I was like, this makes more sense.
Right.
I still don't like it very much, but I got it more.
Okay, so I don't think you're wrong in that it sounds like that. It sounds like, what did you say, a group of wimpy guys?
Bunch of young wimpy guys just going all out.
So so the album came out in 2010, and it was recorded 2009 into 2010 and all. And so I think that something I was putting together within this is I didn't love this through headphones that were made recently, that were made to pick up on all the different sounds. I feel like the best place this sounded was in my car with the windows down.
You're probably right. I would agree with you. Usually when I'm driving around, I try to be in a good mood, so I never played this one in the car. This was not a car album for me because I just, yeah. Anyway.
I mean, this album, okay, so to me, again, I didn't hate anything here, but also didn't love anything here where I had to go back and listen to it. In fact, the cooking section of the show, like I had to play this a couple times while cooking, and I was like, I don't want to listen to this anymore while cooking. Like, it's just not the thing. But I mean, there's one that jumped out to me, but it sounds like to me, it's a first draft, last draft kind of album. It is what it is. It's not, I feel like you should know going into it that it's not going to be something great and special. And especially with it only being 7 tracks, it's not going to be a banger. I'm not going to say that I love this album, but I don't hate this album.
It's one of those things that I'm not a huge fan of much of any of these bands or the people in it. I do really like Johnny Craig's voice, but I'm starting to notice that I like it in certain settings. Cause I've kind of poked around a little bit in the Johnny Craig discography, and I really like the stuff he did with Slaves, and that's about it. Everything else is like, he's either trying too hard to get the like Nick Lachey sound, or he's not trying hard enough and he just sounds like another singer. I feel like Slaves is when he was in the sweet spot. Again, I haven't listened to a ton of his time in Emarosa or Dance Gavin Dance, so maybe I heard a few more songs, maybe I'd feel differently. But like on this album, for example, I like his voice better than the other two guys, but he's not doing anything super special. He's just singing. Like, I just like his tone of voice much, much better than the other two guys.
Okay, so I'm not going to harp on Johnny Craig too much, but I think that I believe there's only one album that he was on in Emarosa, and the Relativity is their first album. Phenomenal, especially that first track. It just opens big vocals on his part, and yeah, great.
I'll have to
Highly
check it
recommend
out.
listening to it.
I'll check it out.
So, all right. Are you ready to jump into this short?
I guess. Let's see how this goes.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this I believe will be our last recorded episode for the year. We're going to take a couple weeks off. We do have a special breakdowns for second breakfast coming out after this. But you know, we're going to close out the season, the 2025 season with an EP, evidently. So before we go too far into this, the emo track names are in full force on this one.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean, it's no, it's no Fall Out Boy.
Right.
But it's like if Fall Out Boy was in a car accident and was recovering. So anyway, all right. Track 1, Kings and Chandeliers. This is one of the two that I was talking about that I've referenced a couple of times so far, that it's an instrumental on this. And I feel the same way about this as I do the next instrumental that we get, which is not track 2, but it's an interlude that became a problem. I feel like it's just an intro for track 2.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a minute and 15 seconds. It should be 20 or 30 seconds or nothing. It sounds like, maybe it's because of the time of year we're in, but it just sounded like Christmas music to me. Like I heard sleigh bells and a little bit of digital stuff, and I was over it before it was over, and I skip it every time.
I think the Christmas sleigh bells actually may be in the next one, because this one I just hear, I had PTSD on this one because it sounded like a symphonic kitchen ticket machine.
Well, okay, so that leads into the next one as well. And
right.
Yeah, but no, the first one has like some bells and chimey shit going on, and then it does. I will get commended on this. It does bleed into the next song perfectly, seamlessly.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. So, all right, track 2, Hills Like White Elephants. If anybody wants to tell me if these names actually have some correlation to the song or meaning, I am all in for it. But okay, so track 2, we get a Chiodos song.
Pretty much, yep.
Yeah. And I feel like this is more of the Devil era of Chiodos, which we did that album on the show. So, you know, I'm very familiar with that album, you know, and the producer on this one, Casey Bates, did Bone Palace Parade. So, or is it Parade Ballet? I don't know. I don't have the credit. Anyway,
I think it's Parade.
Is it Parade?
It might be Ballet. I don't know.
Bone Palace Ballet. Yeah. Anyway, starts with Craig Owen singing, which I have to say, a little disappointing, because knowing that Johnny Craig was here, I was like, I want Johnny Craig to come in. I want Johnny Craig to start. But then when Johnny Craig comes in, you can't miss it.
And I will say, the first time I heard this, you know, went in as blind as I could. I just knew what you told me, which is Craig Owens and Johnny Craig are the singers. And I said, okay. So this song starts. I was like, oh yeah, I hear Craig Owens. This sounds like Chiodos. Then I heard Johnny Craig and was like, God, I like that guy's voice, man. I really like his voice. And then I heard some little girl start singing and was like, no, wait a minute. I didn't know there was a third singer. And then when I realized who it was, I was like, no. And I didn't know how it was bad it would get. And boy, howdy does it get bad. But anyway, on this song, it's not as bad as on some of the later songs. But I agree. I think Johnny Craig's voice is probably one of the best parts of this song.
Yeah, there's only certain parts on this album where I really feel like Craig Owens does good. But, you know, it's overall, it's like, yeah, just give me Johnny Craig. I'll be fine with it. Okay, so I feel like it was just full of energy and just kicking off up until 109, and they had to bring it down. And the thing about it is, I kind of feel like Craig Owens. I mean, this album's full of Craig. It's Craig Owens and Johnny Craig. And anyway, so I feel like Craig Owens.
Fuentes.
Yeah, Craig Fuentes, right. But I feel like Craig Owens just didn't need to scream over what was happening there. I feel like that should have been a Johnny Craig part. I don't feel like Owens was needed in that entire part. And that starts at 109, and then it doesn't stop until 146.
Yeah, it's everybody doing all of their things all the time. It's not bad. Like, they all are technically proficient. They're doing a really good job. It's just, okay, we talk about frequencies and pitch and stuff sometimes, and all these singers sing in a very high pitch. There's a ton of that, like, high pitch, like, noodling on the guitar. This is one of those, like, high frequency albums that is just like, it can kind of mess with your ears and your brain after a while.
Yeah.
I will say, I do like the guitar solo around 257. That's probably a highlight of the song for me.
And actually, so that guitar solo that comes after what I was calling the screaming choir. Which I thought that was a strange way to put it, but I didn't really know how else to put it there. Okay, so the song is 347. That solo is good, but I feel like the song should have wrapped up either with or after that solo, just been done there. It didn't need to go on for so long. And then that's where I just sort of feel like the song is just overdone. And it's kind of like we talked about on LS Dunes, where it's like they just don't want to stop. They don't know where to stop. They don't know when to stop. It's an ego game at a certain point. And, you've got a band full of really like I said, the NBA All-Stars of emo and post-hardcore. They should have let that Ticket Machine sound go at a certain point, but it just stays going through the whole thing. Oh my
God. Yeah. There's this like there's a bunch of that kind of stuff all throughout. But yeah, in this song, there's this like beep, 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 that's like in the background so much. And
that's why I did not like it in headphones, because it's just like I could hear all of those things.
Right.
They don't need to be mixed nearly as high as they are.
And like you said, listening to it in your car or listening to it on just like through your computer speakers, a lot of that gets lost. You just hear the energy and the vocals more than anything. But yeah, it's this album is so short, and I'm already complaining about how long the song is.
Yeah. And it's not, I would say it's not the longest track here, but it's definitely not as short as the interludes and things that we got. So, all right, let's talk about track 3, Clush. Do you know what Clush is?
No idea.
Yeah, I don't either. My first thought when I saw it was, were they trying to play off of Crush?
Crush, Gush, Shush?
Blush?
I have no idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I got to say that this is probably one of the more poppy songs on the album.
That vocal intro sucks. As soon as he starts singing, man, like if you like his voice.
You don't like that vocal intro?
No. If you like his voice, that's fine, but I do not like his voice.
Okay, so I like Craig Owens' voice until Johnny Craig starts singing.
No. Not this one. Oh. This one starts with Mr. Fuentes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. So I did like the intro, but I didn't, I don't know. I don't love his voice, but it's almost like the other, Fuentes and Craig Owens. I don't mind their voices until Johnny Craig starts singing, and then I don't like it anymore.
I actually have in my notes, I like the music, but I hate the vocals until around 39 seconds when Johnny Craig starts.
Here you come now. So please allow me to introduce myself.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, I don't mind his voice. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it either. So,
And I will say on this one, I didn't mind Craig Owens' voice so much on Hills Like White Elephants because it sounds so much like a Chiodo song, but because this song is a little bit more poppy and not quite as unhinged sounding, some of his vocal stuff that he does throughout this song sounds like he is like at the absolute breaking point of his range, and it's just like too much.
So
like, I feel like he's doing too much.
My theory on that is that, okay, so Craig Owens, I feel like he's got a very distinct vocal. He's got everybody knows his voice when he shows up. I wouldn't say everybody. I would say people of the scene know his voice when he shows up. And I feel like he probably would have been a better vocalist for Ellis Dunes than what we got. But, whatever. Can't go back in history.
No,
can't go back in time.
I feel like minus Mr. Fuentes, if Johnny Craig or Craig Owens was the singer of Ellis Dunes, I would have enjoyed that album more for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like, he does have a voice that is very recognizable to people in the scene, but I feel like with having Johnny Craig in the band, because as far as I know, this is the first time that they've really worked together outside of where the idea for this band came from, the, guest spot that Johnny Craig had with Craig Owens. I feel like maybe Craig Owens was pushing himself a little bit harder on this album, because Johnny Craig was there, and Johnny Craig, I think everybody, recognizes that Johnny's a good vocalist or great vocalist.
It's now that you say that, I think that's a really good way to sort of interpret this album. It sounds like an emo dick measuring contest. It sounds like everybody's trying to
I didn't say
outsing
dick
the other.
measuring.
No. But you were thinking about dicks. I know you were. You usually are. But it feels like everybody in this band.
You're right. I thinking of you a lot.
They're all trying to like outshine each other. Like they're all like. Even that very beginning intro, there's like this extra inflection on his like while he's singing that intro that I feel like he's like, I just see him kind of like snarling while he's doing it because he's like, I'm really going in on this. And then Johnny Craig comes in on his part and he has an extra little warble to his little lines. Like it just feels like they're all trying to outdo each other instead of all like, hey guys, let's work on a harmony for this chorus so it sounds good. No, we'll just sing on top of each other. Okay, got it. Just moving on.
It's funny you mentioned the chorus because I like the verses better than the chorus on this one.
I don't like any of it. However, no, actually the music on this one I like quite a bit. I think the music on this song is pretty cool. It does some fun stuff. 115, they add this extra little guitar lick that I really, really like. I think it sounds good. Like I said, the beat is a little bit more like dancey kind of. However, similar to the song before this, there's this weird production sound that just shouldn't be in here. I don't know how else to describe it other than it's an air push sound. Like throughout the song, I hear this like in the background. And I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it's there. It's just part of that. We have to feel like we have to fill up all the frequencies, and and it's just unnecessary.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that, but there is a ticking sound that starts at 2:56.
It's everything you want. If you can stand on your own, then speak up and let us know.
That was not a fan of, but okay. So I want to go back talking about the music on this one. I feel like the snare is the star of this song because that snare is mighty.
You know what? I will say, for as out of control as some of the vocals are, and the guitars are pretty wild, the drums are really good on a couple of spots. I do think the drums on this song are really good, and there's a song I'll bring up later that the drums, again, funny you should say snare, because it is the snare pattern that just gives it this weird little energy to it. But yeah, on this song, I think the drums are one of the best parts because it does have this, like I said, this little more dancey, a little less frantic feel to the music.
Yeah. And I really like the drums towards the end of the song because they get heavier, they get bigger. And I thought it was great, but that damn ticking ruined the whole thing. It's like that ticking, once it started, it just didn't stop, and it kind of ruined the whole thing. But I mean, okay, so the song is 4:10. I really felt like up until about 2:30, this was a really good song. I really enjoyed it. And then that ticking started around 2:56. But it was like between like 2:30 and 2:56. It's kind of just when I was like, okay, we can just kind of round this one out and end it. But we did get those heavier drums towards the end, and I wish they had kind of put those up a little bit further. It's a shame that the drummer is also a problem with Mike Fuentes on drums. And yeah, no, I thought the drums were really good here, but the song didn't need to be 4 minutes, 10 seconds. It really should have been maybe about, I don't know, 2:45 and just push those drums up.
Yeah, I really like, there's a really cool little guitar lick around 2:14 right before it does that little drop out, like you said. And I do like that it comes back in a little heavier. It kind of goes halftime. Of course, I like that.
I know you love your halftime.
But then it sort of just, it just goes on and on. And part of me wonders, like, are these songs 4 minutes long because there's only like 5 proper songs, or like, I don't know. Like, it just feels,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we get to the next, instrumental, I'll give my theory on why I think they're here, but I don't think they're 4 minutes because they are, there's only five actual tracks on this album, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they're this long at times because you've again got the NBA All-Star team of 2009, emo, screamo, post-hardcore, and
am I
like
off?
a dick measuring contest.
Yes. It was a great analogy. Now you say 2009, but am I off in saying that like Chiodos and Pierce the Veil and stuff, wasn't that like a bigger deal in like 2002, 2004? Like, are these bands still like popular and touring in 2009, 2010?
Okay, so I'm gonna go look it up, but I feel like Chiodos was more of a thing like 2005.
Okay, maybe because I will say Pierce the Veil. One of the reasons that I never got into them is because I think they came around a little bit later, to like after I was well out of this kind of style of music. Like, I was never deep into it, but I did like the first Chiodos album. And
okay, and the All's Well That Ends Well that came out July 26, 2005.
2005.
So
okay,
it was
all right.
2005, and then Bone Palace Ballet was 2007. So I do feel like it was a thing where they were, you know, a lot of these bands were the 2005, 2009, which I feel like that's kind of a different scene within this scene, you
Right.
know? And you know, this scene had waves that came through every like 4 to 5 years. Like, it kind of changed over, and I feel like I kind of rode 2 of those for sure. But maybe I'm still riding them in my 40s. I don't know. But
You are.
yeah, okay, fair. But yeah, no. So I say 2009 because I know the album came out, 2010. It was March 2010, but I feel like this was probably mainly written and recorded in 2010. I don't have when it was actually recorded. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on to track 4. Empty Sighs and Wine. I got nothing on that title. But yeah, I feel like this is a Johnny Craig song. So I did like this one a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to go with what we've done on, I think, I don't know, probably 3 of the 4 albums that we're doing within this this time period, which is I like this vocalist better than this vocalist. And I feel like that's a trend that we're seeing here, but I like this one better because it is a Johnny Craig song. And as I've already said, I like Johnny Craig's vocals more.
So I actually have written in my notes that I like the intro. I like the kind of digital.
It's an interesting intro.
Yeah. The music, once it does kick in, is cool, but because I know we do get some more beepy boopy kind of instrumentals, it was kind of like, well, why not go somewhere with this intro? But anyway. But then also right after that, I said, I like that Craig is kind of doing the bulk of the vocals on this one. So that makes
Well, you have
like
to be specific about Craig, like, Johnny
Owens. I'm referring to them by their last names. We're not family, so it'll be Owens or Craig or
All right.
the other guy.
So, okay. I think that this is maybe one of two places where the lyrics jumped out to me, because in this one, and it comes from, I think it was a Boyz II Men song as where he says step 1, step 2, step 3. Okay. And so this song, he says step 1, tell me what I have done. Step 2, you better believe. Step 3, you'll never be like me. So la-di-da, no.
Step 1, tell me what have I done. Step 2, you better believe. Step 3, you'll never be like me. So la-da-da-da-da,
No. It's Brian McKnight, and the song is back at 1.
1, you're like a dream come true. 2, just wanna be with you. 3, girl, it's plain to see.
Okay.
Boyz II Men.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry. 90s R&B is not my sweet spot of knowledge. I heard a lot of 90s R&B because my brother was a 90s R&B guy,
Sure.
R&B and rap. But yeah, I remember hearing the song a lot.
But that song is a
Sorry.
banger. That song is an absolute banger. So I would much rather listen to that than this. But
Sure.
I do like this one. It's okay. Like, I like that the tempo, kind of like the last song, is a little more upbeat. I will say, for me, the mix of the like electronic drums and rhythm with the live drums doesn't feel real tight. Like, it feels a little like, I don't know. It's not a real smooth combination, but I do like how it does go to halftime and you almost have like a metalcore breakdown, starts around like 2:12 or so. I like that, but it doesn't, like, it feels like it should be heavier. Like, it feels like it should really kind of pummel you, and it doesn't.
Okay, so I feel like, and I said the bridge of it starts at 2:10, and we know we're seconds off from each other, but so I do like how it does kind of go into that more of a metalcore music sound. And I don't agree with the electronic drums, the live drums. I kind of feel like it worked in the messiness of it, because I do feel like this is a very well constructed song from beginning to end. I do really enjoy the music on this one, but I do think that bridge where we do get more of the metalcore, like kind of crunching, stomping sort of thing, was really a cool thing. But you've got a super group of musicians. Let the musicians have their time. You don't have to do that falsetto thing on top of it. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Johnny Craig there. And I just need Johnny to stop. Yes, sure. Come in for after the bridge, maybe a little more sparse within that. But I don't feel like he needs to be as constant within that. And I do wish it went bigger out after the bridge and didn't kind of just go back into what we were doing.
Like I said, there's just zero chill amongst these three singers. Like, they all have to sing, and they all have to sing. That's the thing. Like, I'm wondering why this doesn't work. Like, I feel like this should work way better than it does.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that it's almost like, when it's on paper, it's a great idea, but within an action, it's like, maybe this isn't so great. But I do feel like it doesn't work on the human element of it. And I feel like if they had continued on as a band, they could have polished a lot of these things up and really come out with something great. I do feel like if Isles Glaciers put out, this is called The Hearts of Lonely People. So the hearts of found people. I don't know. If they put out a follow-up full album, I feel like they could have cleaned up a lot of these rough edges and it would have been great, because I feel like the seeds of something amazing is here. It's just the execution is not.
Maybe. I get the impression that all three, specifically the vocalists, because honestly, I don't have a lot of complaints about the music. It's not for me. It's not my favorite style of music, but these guys are good at what they're doing. So I'm not going to harp on that too much. But I just feel like all three of these guys are used to being the spotlight of their bands, and none of them are willing to, okay, I'll take a step back and let you do this part. Or, okay, I'm going to like do this wailing thing here, but you can do it on the next song. No, we're all going to do it on each song wherever we feel like, regardless of who's doing what. Like, it's overkill. Like we just got done saying during that whole breakdown section, all three of them are doing these little like, like the entire time. And it's like, guys, somebody needs to be quiet.
Yeah, it just has a tendency to feel crowded.
Yes.
A lot of times. And that is one of my biggest issues with this, is that the vocals just sound crowded. We don't need all the layers. I mean, I feel like if we were constructing, food analogy, if we were making a lasagna, we've stuck a chocolate cake layer in there with it, and that it just doesn't work. I'm sure somebody likes it, but I don't.
Yeah, we discussed this on a previous episode about putting peanut butter on your pizza. Yeah, it feels like you just put chocolate chips in your like meat and red sauce lasagna. Yeah.
So speaking of chocolate chips, people don't know Monster had a birthday recently, and I went to Monster's house for the soiree. And
yes,
Mrs. Monster put out a tray of cookies, which I was appreciative of. But as soon as I saw that the oatmeal and chocolate chip were right next to each other, I was like, that's just somebody that's waiting for a mix up. Somebody is going to grab an oatmeal raisin cookie, think it's a chocolate chip, and be sorely disappointed when they take a bite.
Yes, I think your exact words were, someone is going to grab an oatmeal raisin cookie thinking it's a chocolate chip cookie, and they're going to grow up with
trust issues.
Yeah, grow up with trust issues. Yeah.
Yep. So, all right. Track 5. Oceans for backyards. All right, so this has to be the least enjoyable track on the entire album. I did not like this, and this is where I put together that this is another interlude that became a problem.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that the two instrumentals that we got here are here to pad this out and make it a little bit longer. They're trying to get closer to an album to make it worth people's hard-earned $10 at Hot Topic in the mall. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing to say about it. It's very, at least with the first instrumental, there was a little bit of like music to it. This almost sounds like just like a sweeping scape, basically. The only reason I liked it was because I just finished playing Silent Hill 2 Remake, and this sounds like something that might be playing in the background while a couple of characters are talking. Like, it has that level of sort of creepy but kind of heartfelt that sort of matches the tone of Silent Hill 2, but I'll never listen to it again.
Nope. I listened to this and the other instrumental once all the way through and never listened to them again. This sounded like, it sounds like it should be the background for a cinematic cutscene in a video game or on an anime soundtrack or something like that. It doesn't belong here.
Yeah.
It's an interlude that became a problem. This should have maybe been, 15 seconds as the intro for track 6, VOILA LION.
What a name.
The image of a VOILA LION is either terrifying or not terrifying at all. Just kind of depends on which one you want to put more emphasis on.
I mean, for my own enjoyment, I picture a lion playing a viola, but there is a terrifying alternate universe where it is a viola made out of a lion that is in complete and total agony.
Imagine a lion with viola for teeth, like individual one sticking down.
Stop bowing me.
All right. So, okay. It's a dumb name, but I think this may be the best song on the album. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this song.
It's not,
yeah.
but okay.
Sure. I don't think you have a best track on this album. I think. Yeah.
I don't. I absolutely don't. Okay. What I will say is, though, this is the one that the verses, I'm not a huge fan of the like bells and the chimes in the verses.
Yeah, this is where I was when you talked about the bells earlier. This is what I went to in my head because I don't like the Christmas chimes.
I don't love that. But this is the song that I do like the rhythm of the verse, especially if you pay attention to the snare, because the snare is like hitting on the 2s and 4s like it normally would. But then, God, without like playing it, it's hard to think in my head. But I know that on certain parts, they do it an extra measure. So instead of just being like pop, 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 they do like a pop, 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 pop. It's not 3/4. It's still just regular 4/4, but they just add one extra snare hit during the verses at certain parts that like makes you feel like it's going to speed up, but then it doesn't. It stays almost, it's 4/4, but it feels waltzy.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I liked it. I actually think I like the music best on this one because I feel like this is where the live instruments and the electronic instruments fit together the best on this one. And while I don't love the vocals in the chorus, I love the vocals while I don't love the vocals in the verses, I love the vocals in the chorus. The way he says diamonds, diamonds got stuck in my head. And I could not get that out. I usually listen to the albums, polish up my notes and things the night before we record an episode. And last night I left my computer singing diamonds.
Again, that's Johnny Craig. It's crazy that for a band with 3 frontmen, one of them is the clear winner. Like I could see, and maybe it's not that way for everybody. Maybe other people hear this differently, but
I read some reviews where people were much bigger fans of Craig Owens.
And nobody said Fuentes was the best out of the 3.
No, not so far. So, yeah, I don't think that I ever saw that Fuentes was the best, but I'll have something to say about him in just a second. Okay. I do think this is the best track on the album, but so I felt like Craig Owens does better at complimenting Johnny Craig here because he's not as, I don't think he's as high in the mix. And so I do feel like he does a good background vocal for probably about 2.5, 3 minutes of the song, because then he just sounds whiny as the song goes on. And I got real sick of him. I just didn't need Craig Owens there anymore.
And again, the song just goes on and on. Like I feel like
4 minutes, 45 seconds. Yep.
I feel like in the 3.5, 4 minute mark, we were at a position where we could start to slow it down and wrap it up. But instead, again, it just sounds like everybody's vamping. Everybody's just feeling the music and warbling and caterwauling on top of it, and they just don't want to stop.
Well, if we stopped around 3:45, then we couldn't find out whose Richard had more centimeters. That's right. I went metric.
Well, I'm just glad you went with centimeters. I'm glad you went with the smaller of the measurements.
I could have said millimeters. I don't know. I'm going metric for our foreign listeners and for our listeners outside of the States.
Do we have any of those?
We do. We I think we had a couple Canadians.
That doesn't count. That does not count.
I've got a running joke with my Canadian. So we got a Canadian branch. I have a running joke with them about how we have to do conversions for stuff, and so to convert time, they measure minutes in beavers. and hours in elk. And yeah. So, all right. You ready to close this one out?
Yes, I am.
All right. Let's talk about track 7, probably the emo-est title of all, Cemetery Weather. What is cemetery weather?
You know what's funny is I can actually get behind that analogy. Like, to me, maybe it's just because I am the horror movie monster guy, but like for me, it's like
Fall?
Cemetery weather. I get that. Like, yeah, fall, like Halloween spooky season. It's okay. I kind of get that.
So I kind of feel like that is the feeling of this song, because I do feel like this is more of the fall song. So maybe Cemetery Weather the title does fit this one probably better than anything else here. But this is the one where I found where Vic Fuentes was pointed out where he does step up. And I do feel like he does step his game up here, because I do feel like his vocals are better here than anywhere else on this short EP album. I don't know. But yeah.
Let me read from my notes here. So once I got off this, like past the initial sticker shock of this being a 7-minute long song. So the first vocal is Craig Owens, and I thought, okay, he sounds pretty good.
I never knew what I would do if anybody tried.
And then Johnny Craig comes in, and I thought, wow, sounds even better.
And I don't know why I breathe. It's taking too long.
And then at 107, Fuentes shows up and ruins it.
I need somebody crazy enough.
He sounds like shit. Dude, I don't get it. I really don't get it. What about his voice is good?
So I don't think he sounded like shit, but I don't think he sounded awful. I don't think he sounded great. I feel like he sounded better here than anywhere else, but I don't feel like it was great. I feel like Craig Owens sounded better here than anywhere else. I feel like this is probably the better vocal performance of those two than anywhere else on this EP.
Just like both, like Craig Owens and Johnny Craig sound like adults, and they sound like grown men singing grown men lyrics. And then all of a sudden, somebody, like what is this? Like, why? I do not like his voice. I do not understand why he's here, like, at all. Now, I know he's playing guitar. He probably helped write some songs. Great.
He wrote a lot of the music on this.
Stop singing. Save that for your band. That's fine. But like, as soon as his voice comes in, it takes me completely out of the song and ruins the mood for me completely.
Okay, so this is probably, with the exception of Oceans for Backyards, which was a waste of time, this probably has to be the slowest song on the album. And musically, I feel like, instrumentally, it did a good job of building like an intense feeling until it goes electric at 135. And then it doesn't lose that feeling, but it loses the live instrument feeling for sure.
Yeah, it gets real beepy boopy. And then for me, it's like, okay, this is a long song, which again, if you're going to have a long song, that's okay. Just go somewhere with it. Well, around 407, they get this like feedback thing. And I'm like, okay, this long drawn out thing, and then they're going to end with this huge chorus. Nope, it goes right back into stripped down beepy boopy, Nick Fuentes whining his ass off.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get to that point, okay, so at 250, I don't need the 8-bit fart synth that shows up. Just doesn't need to be there. But yeah, I feel like, I feel like around, 3:34 minutes maybe would have been a great place to kind of wrap this up. Leave out that 8-bit fart synth. But I don't know, the last 3 minutes is just, it's almost like they just wanted to make the song long to finish it out with giving us a closer, the slowest closer I think I've ever heard. I mean, it's a good closer. I think it does a good job of, bringing things to a close without leaving us on high energy, like some of the other things that we've done. But I don't need it to be a 7-minute long closer, especially a 7-minute long closer that doesn't go anywhere, doesn't do anything. It just becomes repetitive.
Yeah. And then for a band that and I don't know anything about the marketing or the advertising or what, but I feel like
I don't either. I don't know if there was any other than just putting it next to the register in Hot Topic.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, maybe it was free with a $20 purchase or something. I have no idea, but
I know they had one show. That's just one show. Yeah.
But I get the impression that the draw here is that it's these 3 lead singers all singing together in one band. So they have not stopped vamping and singing on top of each other this entire time. You have this last song that goes on forever, and the last 2 minutes are just droning, repetitive music. There's no vocals at all. And it's like, what is this? Like, what are you trying to convey with this song? I will say, I've said some nice things about some of these other songs. This one I really, really do not like. And that knowing that the first song is then just this long ass instrumental was like, I don't want to go back and listen to this anymore,
Okay. So I'll tell you what this is. This is track 4 of the full length album.
You tighten it up a little bit. You make it that, the first 2 or 3 songs are aggressive and energetic. Track 4 or 5 is your quote unquote slow down, but it's still big. Sure. And then around track 8 or 9, you have that stripped down acoustic-y song like they always do. Yeah, no, I'm with you, but oh boy.
Yeah.
I
don't know. I liked it, but I got tired of it. I liked the first, 3.5 minutes of it, but then I don't need the rest of what's here, especially since we're going to just repeat what we've done before. And I'm going to stick with that. I think this is probably one of the better vocal performances that we've got on this album out of all 3. Now, I will tell you that, yes, Johnny Craig and Craig Owens were very well known, but Vic Fuentes, he was well known in the scene as well. Unfortunately, his brother was known for other things within the scene, but yeah, so I think that the draw for this was that you had these 3 powerhouses within the scene on this project. I feel like it did become a Richard measuring contest.
Yeah, and which is why, again, I don't understand why this 7-song thing goes out with 7-minute long song that, yes, has really good vocal performances, but then just drones monotonously to the finish line. Like it's, I don't know. I don't get it. And
no, I'm with you on that.
And so that kind of sours my taste on the whole thing,
Well, I'm a professional enough to be able to separate the rest of it. I'm not a professional.
Well, good for you. I still don't like the rest of it very much either. I just like this one less.
All right, Monster, out of these 7 tracks, what's new with you?
Hey, hey, good looking. What you got? Cooking.
I said Clush. Only because it's a cool word. Maybe it's not. I don't know what it means. Maybe it means something horrific. I have no idea.
Yeah. I didn't look up what clush means.
Nope, and I'm not gonna. I just think the music on this one's okay. Like it's a little bit more upbeat. It kind of does some fun stuff. I think there is a little halftime thing in there. So sure, Clush. Why not? In Danger, what's cooking?
All right, so before I go on to what's cooking, Clush primarily refers to a command line tool from the cluster shell package used for running commands. It's something from a game. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. I just had to know what Clush was. I wanted to look it up. Anyway, what's cooking? I'm going to go with what I feel like is the best track here, VOILA LION. Why? Because it's the best track here.
Yeah. If it makes you happy, then go for it.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to end us on a high note. So I want you to go first with your closing statement.
Okay. All right.
Because I don't feel like you're going to have... I feel like I'm going to be higher than you.
I feel like you will be. I don't know how a 7-song album that clocks in at only 26 minutes and 41 seconds can feel so insufferably long. It's obvious everybody in this band knows what they're doing, but what they are doing is usually noisy, screechy, and in general, just unpleasant to listen to. I like some of the guitar work, but it's usually overshadowed by all the odd production choices and the constant barrage of screechy vocals. Johnny Craig is the only one who seems to be able to sing in a voice that doesn't sound strained, forced, or cartoonish. The instrumentals feel slow and boring, while the songs with vocals usually feel like they're on the brink of falling off the rails at any moment. This sounds like a bunch of young guys going 1,000,000 miles an hour, until it sounds like the polar opposite and it slows to a grinding halt. Maybe with a few more songs, this could have felt a little more balanced. But then again, I don't know that I want to listen to any more songs like this. As it is, I'll never listen to this again. 1 to 10, I said 3.15. 1 point for each singer.
Yeah, I'm gonna be higher than you.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Here we have a one-off of a emo supergroup. Isles and Glaciers quickly became known for its ambitious mix of post-hardcore vocals with the combination of Craig Owens, Johnny Craig, and Vic Fuentes. This post-hardcore supergroup that was in theory a great idea delivers sometimes emotional intensity, sometimes strong vocal performances, and sometimes a polished sound that highlights each singer's strengths. Unfortunately, it takes a highlighter to the weaknesses. I did enjoy this, but it is not without its flaws. The layers of vocal performances can make this feel overcrowded, and the songwriting sometimes can be more style over substance. This project was short-lived, and that has left some of these ideas underdeveloped. While it remains a cult favorite for fans of this era of things, it almost marks the end of one for me. After this, Johnny Craig's addiction led him to do some really stupid stuff, and Craig Owens was off to do drugs. Not like Johnny, he had another supergroup forming, Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows, and Vic was doing what Pierce the Veil does. There's only so much room for addiction in multiple projects. That being said, I think this was a good start, but maybe Hot Topic would have been a better release spot for this 5 years before this album was actually put on the counter. I gave this a 5.55.
Yeah, that's reasonable. As I feel like being a bigger fan of emo, screamo kind of stuff, you're a bigger fan of Chiodos than I am. So that checks out. That's reasonable.
All right. Well, I'm glad I got your approval on my score.
I'll accept it. I'll accept your score.
So, Monster gave Isles and Glaciers, The Hearts of Lonely People, a 3.15, and I gave it a 5.55, which gives an overall average of 4.35, which puts it into the 112th position, just below Sweet Spine and just above Flowbots. That's terrible. That's a terrible tour.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to that. No, I would not go to that tour.
Yeah. If you disagree with the score that we have given this album, then please shoot us an email at breakdownsbreakfast@gmail.com or head on over to one of our social media platforms, Facebook, X, or Instagram, and let us know what you thought about this episode. Let us know if there's an album that you'd like for us to give the breakdowns treatment to in the future.
I'm pretty sure whoever got mad at us on our opinions on Dance Gavin Dance is going to be pissed off when they listen to this one. But that's okay. Depending on when this comes out, it's either the very end of 2025 or the very beginning of 2026. So either way, Happy New Year.
I think this will actually be the last week of December. I don't know. Podcast math is hard. We've said that plenty of times. But, like I said, this is closing out the 2025 season, and we are going to have the Breakdowns for Second Breakfast special episode after this with Monster's special game.
Yeah, exactly. So either way, Happy New Year, Happy 2025, going into 2026. Hope to see you next year. Danger.
Well, we're not going to see you because you're just going to listen to us.
No, we
send us an email next year.
We see you. What do polar bears have for lunch?
What?
Iceburgers.